I work as a sleep scientist, and until recently, I considered myself unshakable. That changed 3 weeks ago. Since my latest discovery, I haven't closed my eyes to sleep, not once. My work has always come with its fair share of the unsettling. I've studied cases where children describe shadowy figures during sleep paralysis, heard patients scream themselves hoarse, and even been attacked by sleepwalkers. But none of it compares to the horror I encountered with my last patient. He was a man in his mid-20s, brought to our facility after slipping into an unexplained coma. The details were bizarre. His brother said it started with headaches and vivid hallucinations, after which the man went to bed and simply never woke up. No trauma, no visible health issues, just a sudden and inexplicable descent into unconsciousness. Monitoring him was supposed to be straightforward, or so I thought. His brain activity was like nothing I'd ever seen. Despite his body showing classic signs of a coma, unresponsive pupils, no reaction to pain, his brainwaves told a different story. It was as if he were awake, aware, and fully conscious, trapped in his own mind. Theories flew around the lab. Could it be an undetected pathogen? Some kind of neurological anomaly? I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever this was, it wasn't going to be in any medical textbook. I stayed late that night, alone, determined to figure it out. That decision, I now realize, may have been a mistake. The lab was quiet, save for the hum of machines and the steady beep of the patient's heart monitor. I immersed myself in reading, distracted for a moment when I thought I heard footsteps in the corridor. My stomach tightened as I remembered. There were no other patients tonight. I was alone, or I was supposed to be. I checked the hallway. Nothing. Every door was locked, the building secured. But the unease wouldn't leave me. Back at my desk, I tried to focus, but then the patient's heart monitor spiked. I glanced at the screen, and his brainwave activity had shifted. He wasn't waking up, but something had changed. I checked the camera feed only to see a dark blur near the patient's bed. I rushed to the observation window, straining to make sense of the shape. At first I thought it was just shadows, an optical illusion. But the shadow moved, creeping along the floor before rising, tall and imposing, over the bed. Heart pounding, I considered the impossible. Could someone have entered the locked room? I grabbed my swipe card and darted into the corridor to investigate. But the room was still locked. I looked back at the camera feed. Nothing there. I rewound the footage. The shadow, whatever it was, hadn't been recorded. Either I was losing my grip on reality, or something unexplainable was happening. I returned to my desk, trying to steady myself. That's when I noticed something even stranger. The wires connecting the patient to the monitoring equipment were disconnected, and he wasn't in bed. My breath hitched as I scanned the room, and then I saw him, under the bed, completely still. Somehow this unconscious man had moved himself without disturbing the locked doors or the cameras. Dragging him back into bed felt surreal, his body limp yet unnervingly heavy. I reconnected the wires and checked the readings. They showed nothing abnormal. It was as if he'd never moved. I decided to check the video feed again. The past hour was blank. No footage, no explanations. Frustrated, I reached for the phone to call security, but the line was dead. My mobile had no signal. Even email wouldn't work. It felt as if the entire lab was cut off from the world. And then the patient screamed. I froze. His mouth stretched wide, yet his brain activity showed no signs of consciousness. Worse, he sat up. His body moved, but the regions of his brain responsible for motor control remained inactive. Something else was controlling him. Panic clawed at my chest as I ran to the door to get inside, only to find it wouldn't open. My card refused to work, the lights wouldn't turn on, and the windows blinds were abruptly yanked down from inside. I backed away, shaken, when something shoved me hard, sending me sprawling to the floor. I scrambled up, trying to make sense of what was happening when the monitors all went dark. The lab was plunged into silence, broken only by the patient's relentless screams. I banged on the window, shouting for him to wake up, but deep down, I knew it wasn't him I was dealing with anymore. Then, just as suddenly as they had started, the screams stopped. The blinds remained drawn, the door still locked. I was trapped, alone with whatever presence had taken over the lab. In that suffocating silence, I remembered the brother's words about the hallucinations that had plagued the patient before his coma. I think I'm next.